I would say apologies for being kind of late, but like I said, I was out there. You see, I've uploaded a couple of things. Some things are questionable. I don't know if the one I should upload it, but I just wanted to do it for educational purposes for you to look at it, to research it, and then to go and watch it for yourself and see what your take might be from it. They might not like it. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not into politics yet. I'm aware of certain things that have changed over the decades, which are not our way. So that's why I put it up there. Questionable. The big question. I'm gonna start off with a couple of definitions. If you don't get your butt off of that screen, hey, Alexander, don't me. Get down from there like that. Now nothing. And retract your nails. Or detract. Retract, whatever. Don't go up there getting stuck chasing a bird that you can't get to. Alright? You know you want to play. Don't do that. Well, anyway, definitions. It's Oxford Language Dictionary. Anyway. Noble. I find this, to me it became kind of, I was thinking of peculiarities, and I just said, you know what? We have a lot of individuals who believe in certain things or considering themselves of noble or nobility. I said, well, why don't we look it up? And then we acquiesce their reactions to how they act to things. And what I read, you find them acquiescing or carrying themselves in such a manner, then okay. Then they are noble and carry themselves with nobility. So let's look at that. Noble. Belonging to, and this is an adjective. Belonging, no, and bow. Belonging to a hereditary class with high social or political status. An aristocrat, the Duchess of Kent, terrible acquisition, but anyway, Duchess of Kent, and other noble ladies for men. Similar as having or showing fine personal qualities or high moral principles and ideals that the promotion of human rights was a noble aspiration. It says having or showing fine personal qualities or high moral principles. I don't see that within a certain community. I don't see that noble practice. I see legitimization or legitimate behavior of antagonization, religious idiocracy, and a lot of hypocrisy. But who am I? Let's look at it now. Especially in former times. I guess that's saying not relevant to now. I guess that's that flip-floppy thing, you know? A person of noble rank or birth, and that gives back into a hereditary. The greater, an adjective, the greater of nobles' military power or the more land he could control or own. You know about certain tribes, marriage, how many cattle and sheep or lamb they can give, and other things that are actually carried by one family to the other. However that may be ascertained, or you may see it. And you could, in Latin, you could translate it to decorus, ingenious, magnus procos, or like it's to procure. And I'm not going to get into all that. What I'm going to do is go back to the nobility of meaning in history. It's a noun. The quality or state of being noble in character. So it's the quality or state, like statehood. Quality of, like, is it of good quality? I mean, and I'm not going to get into the actual enunciation and meaning and all that crap. It doesn't matter. We're talking, we have a certain group of individuals that believe themselves to be nobles. I'm not saying they're not, but I'm saying, and what they've procured over as far as, let's use Moorish Science Temple or a number of those different dialects, right? I have yet to come across those who actually aspire to what nobility is. Not saying they are not, but I'm saying the choice, we all have choices that they have chosen. That means they should aspire to that, right? Quality or rank. the body of persons forming the noble class in a country or state, aristocracy. I I have this thing where we have been made to believe nobility or nobles belong to a class. Um, in layman's terms, what I'm reading, we see that. But if it says a military rank or what you own, and doesn't that kind of go outside the parameters of the truth of hereditary? If we say hereditary by blood, many kings and queens and khans families have been put into the lower status by those who are not of nobility or noble blood. So is that a quagmire? And we have those who majority come from orphans who don't know their true history. And that's not to slap anybody in the face. That is only, what I'm doing is I'm procuring an idea based on a reality of history that is hidden from so many. I'm not saying that a person must walk knowing that their great-great-great-grandma or pappy were orphans. I am saying the statute of how people carry themselves is very indecisive. White, the class of white, which doesn't mean pale skin, for you wayward pale skins. That is a class to assert one over another and another under one. And that is not balance. That is not harmony. You know what true nobility is? Mitigated by those who would protect all rights that are naturally, I don't use the word God-given, but by order established from the foundation of our existence. Everything that we see of nobility now is far from and in between. My personal opinion. All right? I am not telling you to run with it. This is just me going on things that I've learned throughout the years. And I said, I believe before I read, this would be a great subject matter and probably something I will bring up on an open mic. You call podcast. I'm not into that podcast. I looked that word up, and I'm just not into the pod and casting. How I'm living, I don't find it to be a pod. You might see it like that, but I see a pod, something that a seed is in. Am I the seed of information? Could it be illuminated as that? Probably so. Can we procure such ideology? Probably so. With this language, as I spoke earlier, it spells. I don't recognize or give that any recognition. I am only in my world, in the mirror reflection. I am removing the dynamics of what has been established that I find to be a perversion. And though I know many people want to argue and parlay and hold court and or some kind of communion and conversation, or with symbols and ideologies, I just can't do it. As I said, we better self. Now, can we assist one another? Of course. But how do we really do that? We must remove the teacher-student ideology. That is unequivocally, that's a status. That is a class. I'm here and you're there. That's not how the parents and their children, the parents looked at their children. It was not about we are fake friend relationship. It was not about I brought you into this world, I'll take you out. It was not about those. That's not order. Everything that I have attained in a life, I will make sure my children know. The problem is what I've attained in this world is nothing I want my children to have, though they have, and many others and the like of us all have attained things that further is a classification. That peasant stuff, which is just nonsense, have put us in a position where we cannot illuminate ourselves in unity. Therefore, there's always this destructive narrative, this hurtful, painful relationship that really does not allow people to become one. Now, obviously, I can go the other direction. Phonetically, I can sit here and curse and everything and say things without jeopardizing what I'm doing. I just believe there is a way to do it without everybody believing, oh, well, he's trying to sound white or this, that, and all that stupidity, which sadly, most people in this new generation acquiesce or believe is the foundation of who they are, or unknowingly, they have given up the truth of the greatness of they are to become something that is dictated by the same perverse system. It's my opinion. I don't believe it's required, nor never have I. I just wanted to draw on that. What is nobility? And I allude to this because everybody believes they're a teacher. Not everybody was meant to teach. And the majority of people aren't attempting to find what their knack is. Everybody I watch on YouTube is there for a bag, to assert their opinion or ideology that steeped in hypocrisy. I'm not here for that. I'm here to see us grow together. I appreciate the donations, which I purchased books. I purchased the book. Let me show you. I said I was going to do it live. I get a little angst. I'm not perfect. But I went ahead and purchased two. That one, and I got another of, I bought the other Arthur Koestler, 13 Tribe. This is the same book, but it's a hardback. So I went ahead and forked over the $37 something for the hardback to have. And I figured with that one, I will read that as a whole separate. I might do it on Patreon. So that way we don't have the conflicting conspiracy theorists, which conspiracies, but you don't have a conspiracy if there's not a theory. And a theory is based on a conspiracy. So they're one and the same. But I'm not here because I read Webster's and all these different so-called dictionaries. I just would like to see people lower themselves for a moment to a place of an aptitude of, how should we say, barterism, where we can meet on an equal playing field without attempting to overdo. Because like I said, this is no competition. Because if it was, I'd just go out and take off for the races. This is not about that. It has never been like with me. I see people professing people, and yet they've watched me discuss this numerous since Facebook, YouTube came up, MySpace, AOL, shooting messages out, and some of them weren't even but babies, paps. And if it was a competition, I'd be letting loose my reel, casting a big hook with no sinker, and dragging and snatching everybody up out of their little comfortable place of ignorance. Like I said, there's a handful of us that have been doing this all of our lives. Some of them not even here today. I've known Teliona Kwasayokode for a long time. He has made me so much. Tobacco pouches. We have discussed certain things. He has given me the respect that I've given him. Whether it be the martial arts community, the gratuity and the thankfulness, regardless of who he was and what he did. And there's other ones I'm not going to mention. There's no need to. Chief Langley was the same way until he got tired of dealing with so many doubters and the pan fries who kept being antagonists, claiming the nobility and everything else, like they knew what they were doing and talking about Anunnaki and this, that, and the other. And I used to dispose of them quickly. And I realized that there's a way to do it without the infighting. The infighting is the worst thing. I remember the days of going to households in middle school where the mom was liberal and the father was conservative. And there was no what we see now. It's whatever they have made people embark on, it is not a journey of enlightenment or atonement. It is quite the opposite. It's very destructive. It's like a benign tumor. It's not healthy. And we have a lot of people today that speak on things they know nothing about. I don't care who you are and how well and how many people are following you. The majority, you shouldn't be speaking on half the things you speak on. And that's a fact. Take it however you may. It matters to me. I have no feelings. You know how they always say you don't have a shoe in the fight? Well, I just so happen I have some very excellent boxer shoes that I have put on many canvases and in many yards. And I have pulled out W's left and right. So when it comes to that don't have a shoe in the fight, sometimes you need to know if you're actually meant to do what you're doing, even if you're doing it as you learn. And I always say, if you're doing it as you learn, if that is your true knack and calling, it will be natural. Some people don't follow people for the right reasons. A lot of these men who are having issues, not by their own works or doings, are following certain individuals because of their attraction. They believe they have a shot. No, I have to say it. Or they believe that whatever it is that is being said doesn't matter. They're just going to get whatever it is they come for. We're dealing with some sick times. And then there are some women who could be said the same thing, but yet some women who are ignored. And the sad part about that is they might be a powerful source. And so any man, and this is for the women today, so I'm kind of giving y'all some kudos. Any man who would sit there to believe their mannerism on the streets, Freaknik, spring break or whatever, college sororities, because of certain immoral acts by certain women, deems them to be able to come over these platforms and subjugate them and do the things they do is all right. No, that shows that you're a part of the chaotic ideologies, narratives that don't help or assist. And it also is allowing these women who are manifesting the light in them to see you for a very weak individual. That is not to bash you. That is to state a fact. And to then ascertain and carry on in a way that you believe is victorious by lashing out shows even how much more weaker you are. And by design, not by your own doing. And if you're not willing to listen, because you may be a warrior, you may be a mechanic, I don't care if you're doing those fields, but if you're on here and you are carrying yourself away, instead of seeking the information and better yourself by learning and start believing that you're a teacher and this is not your platform, maybe it's meant for you to turn a wrench. Maybe it's meant for you to go and learn how to change horseshoes or fix the hooves of cows and get rid of, separation or certain holes with pus. It's not to teach. Not everybody, and women too, not everybody is meant to teach. And we have this problem. We have certain individuals on platforms, and this is because they need to be called out. Instead of going to call things out. And it's not to be negative, because this is negative, then have at it. Continue to be misled by people who shouldn't be leading nothing, or believe they're teaching and yet they're conflicting with their teaching. We have people that says, I'm a scientist, or this is my specialty, and when it's not. I watch the platforms. I watch the individuals. I see them. It's nonstop. And then you have those who are scholarly. And let me tell you something about being scholarly. That is like 2% of the population. So if we want to get nobility or the noble, what are you noble at? What is your nobility in? Well, without a proper edification of a mother and a father-like figure to rear the children and to see what their strongest characters are, so that way they can be guided or gilded into the certain realms. Like I expressed to somebody on one of their posts, 1800s, showing melanated children. They said black children, like, because they don't know no better. Melanated children learning to firefight. That was one of the trades, and those young men and women were picked for that. That is something that we did long ago. It's nothing new. But if you listen to history, they will have you believe that Italian and Irish, and that is not the case. That is pure fabrication and lie. These children are the children of children who were orphans. I mean, the facts are there. The orphan train, orphan books. I was the one showing people to go look at these books, telling them to look at these things, expressing this. Nobody else was speaking about it. And I says, when they did, I would let them write with it. Though I have the books. I've had them for over 30 years and 20 years. I help build people's platforms I believe are honorable and worthy to teach things. Here it is. I was talking about Tartaria long, and this is not me, I'm speaking a fact, long before anybody conveyed or talked about it. And it gets wind and it runs like wildfire, and people become afflicted with a good perpetual reality. And that confliction is good. It's a healthy one, conflicting. So when I'm reading their books, you better believe I am delighted and enlightened, and it's beautiful. And they say, well, how did you come across it? Well, the books of old, back in the 70s, 80s that I was reading, had nothing to do about teaching Terry. It was the annotations. It was the notion of its existence because of the mud floods. When I first learned that the TRU HERU was not leaning over because of some defect, because of the mud, the surface, the way it was built was not the problem. It was going to happen. It was an ancient building, and yet history in itself, the lie of it, would have you believe it was recent, not too long ago, and that it had everything to do with the individuals you see there today, and it has absolutely nothing to do with them. Maybe I'm tooting my horn a little bit, but not in the way you think. I'm tooting it because I'm tired of seeing all that I discussed and what drove me and put me in a position to see the things I saw, to look at people running with it as if they have ownership on it when I didn't. That disgusts me, and that can discourage the ignorant. The ignorant are not bad. The ignorant is not some foul word. The ignorant only means they do not know. And some people, when they are teaching, are like the Hebrews on the corner, dressed like Goku and Vegeta and Krillin and the Super Saiyans or something. And people are standing there wanting to listen, and then they start doing what they hear in the neighborhood before gunshots. You're going to burn in hell with the fake popes and everything else. I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to see how y'all run with this for you religious individuals. I don't believe the serpent was never bad. I believe the serpent was the one that gave us wisdom. I believe the God that they want us to follow, singular, not plural, is the divinity of Jah. I really do. Because all the ones pushing it are the ones that carry on in darkness. And how do you illuminate darkness? I just watched this one where this gentleman was saying his man's mama paying her tithes for 50 years, built up this pork chop preacher's church and everything, and would not allow his mother's funeral to be at the church that she stayed at and her build up. I says, if nobody can see the hypocrisy and detach themselves, and I state this because you need to, detach yourself from these frolicking liars, these hateful, no good individuals who create further division and debacles, who become greedy and self-serving. And like I said, they're not the tribe of Levi, so what are they doing gathering tithes that have nothing to do with y'all's Jesus said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, though before Jesus existed, the Old Testament and the Tanakh, the Talmud of origin, spoke different. It had nothing to do with currency, silver or coin. Why has it been perverted and created? Well, my opinion, I believe to do exactly what I was stating, to make people believe that everybody was meant to do the same thing. No. And the richest of the earth and the heavens to be that which comes from it, but was never needed nor required because everything was free. We are dealing with perversions. So what is noble and nobility? I believe within self, knowing sometimes when to stand down, when to stop, when to direct people to the proper teacher, to edify oneself, to say, what are your traits? What is it you like? And to be able to be encouraging for whatever that is. Because we all run around as if we're some kind of gods. And I know what it said as far as reading the Bible, and we are year gods. I told you I broke down the etymology of the word God. That's why I don't like using it. But if we are the light bearers, in what direction are we supposed to shine the light? And with that, I'm going to go ahead and read. Apologize for the light being there, but I think that is perfect. I'm going to read something from the Book of Five Rings, the Miyamoto Musashi, and I believe this may also give to a little bit of that. I'm going to lower the blinds a little bit. Excuse me. Because it is quite too much, I believe, in y'all. And unnecessary, actually, in its positioning. Because it has changed. And I actually shared in Enoch, which we'll get into next, about the luminaries and the portals. And that's the reason why I'm reading Flatlanders. And we went over, Nos Finale, we went over Navigator, well, Nos Confanda. No confusion. It's only for us to have better ways of looking at things. This is the only reason why I'm doing this. I'm not saying you have to believe the earth is flat. I'm not saying you have to believe the earth is round. I am saying research for self-edification. Your choice in what you believe, what you want to see, what correction can you make, what's relevant to where you are, and for your own personal, to better the children. I believe a lot of us are broken. You see the title. And two broken people. Right? So, generally speaking, Book of Five Rings. Generally speaking, people make their way through the world in four ways. The way of the warrior, the farmer, the artisan, or the merchant. Those who follow the way of the farmer prepare various farming implements, carefully regard the changing of the four seasons, and in this continuum, live out their days. This is the way of the farmer. Following the way of the merchant, the man who makes sake seeks out various methods of production. He doesn't sit there and go, I'm the greatest sake maker. He seeks out different methods. It's his love, like the farmer. Our various methods of production. Makes a profit from its good or poor quality. So not all things that are learned by the sake maker is always that grand or the best. The environment, or depending on where your location is, you do with the best what you have. But if that's your knack to be the sake maker, like the farmer, you might just be good for rice, barley, ginger. Tea leaves, green tea leaves, or black. It's whatever. You know what I'm saying? What you've been nurtured with, what was seen in you. Anyway, let's carry on. The man who makes a profit from its good or poor quality and thus earns his living. In whatever way the merchant takes, he does the work appropriate to him and makes his way through the world by making a profit. This is the way of the merchant. As for the warrior, he prepares himself the weapons of the various military practices and must sufficiently determine the proper uses of those weapons. That's like I said, as a veteran. Everybody that when the military became veterans, weren't all fighters. I got to say this. Not everybody's a trigger puller. Not everybody's a door kicker. I don't care how much they were trained in. Some people were never meant to take a life. Well, majority were never meant to do that. Or to rule and lead anyone, for that matter. But that's delusion. Okay. This is the way, okay. Practices and must sufficiently determine the proper uses of those weapons. This is what must be done in the way of the warrior. Without the preparation of weapons and an understanding of the advantages of each one, wouldn't the accomplishments of the warrior clans lose a bit of their depth? Following the way of the artisan, the carpenter, for example, skillfully prepares all the different kinds of tools, learns the best way of using each one, and takes out his carpenter's square, works correctly according to the plan, and does his work unfailingly, and makes his way through the world. These then are the four ways: warrior, farmer, artisan, merchant. Now I will describe the martial arts in comparison with the way of the carpenter. For the sake of such a comparison, let us take houses as our example. We speak of aristocratic houses, warrior houses, the four houses of the Fujiwara. The destruction or continued existence of these houses are, for that matter, of a style, tradition, or particular house. Now we can also use that for settings, clans, family orientations, tribes, and so forth. By using the word house, we can make a comparison with the way of the carpenter. The word carpenter is written with the Chinese characters for great skill. I am working on that too. The calligraphy is pretty awesome. Beautiful wrist movements. It is this great skill in the way of the martial arts that leads me to choose the example of the carpenter. To learn about the principles of battle, meditate on this book. For the teacher is the needle, the student the thread, As a student, you should practice without end. And believe me, the teacher remains a student as well. All right. And so tomorrow we'll get into the comparing of the way of the martial arts to the carpenter. I just wanted to allude on that. And that's the reason why I brought up nobility. And noble. We have people using those vernaculars, and we think that all of them aspire to be that because of some red cap or fez, or because of shriners, these certain emblems, and it's not meant for everyone. And dynastically, we all see that and know this. And when we start walking in the light of these truths, if they are befitting of truths, we can acquire a different response. It's like the autoimmune system. We go and attack what is bad. And sometimes we attack what's good, and that causes a confliction where it makes us sicker. And sometimes we had to mitigate something to slow that down and stop that, and refocus and redirect the white blood cells to, again, go and attack the enemies, the free radicals, and not his brother and sister. Book of Enoch. Yes, somebody said, Red, I think this was meant for you. I don't want to hear that. I'm doing what I enjoy doing. There's a difference. I'm a martial artist. I like to fight. No, I'm not here for that. I like to protect. I don't like bad people, though bad people can change their ways. I'm more aware that there's something going on. I don't want to get into the PC, the political correctness of that. I'm not here for that. I believe that in order to nurture myself, I must share that information with those who are like-minded. That's why I said I'm not here for the masses, I'm here for the few. I at no time said whatever I said is supposed to apply to any and everybody. But we see that on a regular. And that I am I am indisposed to react and carry a certain sickle towards. We reap what we sow. Okay? Chapter 77. And the figure quarter, again, for those who may have just come in, the Book of Enoch. And the first quarter is called the East, because it is the first and the second. The South, because the Most High will descend there. Yea, you must remember that these things have been a little perverted, or quite a bit. And I might not do a whole lot of changing today. I might just read it as is, and then let you be the interpreter. Not misinterpret, to seek, to be edified, to research. Because it is the first and the second in the South, because the Most High will descend there. Now, isn't it funny? And the first quarter is called the East, because it is the first. And the second, the South, because the Most High will descend there. Why would they put that there if not the throne be the North Pole of Polaris? I am only stating something in the Kundalini everywhere, written everywhere throughout history. All of a sudden, they want to change something, as in the sun being male and the moon being female, when it's totally the opposite throughout history. For the Mother Earth in the daylight nurtures you, gives you strength, and at night the Father protects and you rest and slumber, and He comforts you with a solemn darkness. They don't want you, they want to, I'm going to say this. No, I'll say it after I'm done reading this. I'll say it after I'm done, excuse me. And yea, there in a quite special sense will He who is blessed forever descend. And the west quarter is named the diminished, because there are all the luminaries of the heaven wane and go down. Why did they make this to be the west when this is Asia Superior, the east? Are you paying attention to what I've been teaching? And I further research this stuff. I don't just sit there and go, oh, I feel this way because this is what somebody said. No. And the fourth quarter, named the north, is divided into three parts. The first of them is for the dwelling of men, and the second contains seas of water and the abysses. And that is correct. So why would they make the throne where man descended from and spread over the earth, and we found our way in South America and Central America? There's no south. It's westerly and easterly. Anyway, my opinion based on my studies. I'm not saying you have to believe it. What's coming from me is from me. It's for you to look into it and see things for yourself. Why would they sit there and make the South the place that he would come down when they've made a pact to hide the truth from you as they've destroyed the truth here? That's a fact. Okay. Second contains seas of water and the abysses and forests and rivers and the darkness and clouds. And the third part contains the garden of righteousness. I saw 7 high mountains, higher than all the mountains which are on the earth. And thence comes forth frost, and days, seasons, and years pass away. I saw 7 rivers on the earth, larger than all the rivers, and one of them coming from the west pours its One of them coming from the west pours its rivers into the great sea. We are the east, and the east pours its rivers into the great sea. And these 2 come from the north to the sea and pour their waters into Erythraean Sea in the east. And the remaining 4 come forth on the side of the north to their own sea, and 2 of them to the Erythraean Sea, and 2 into the great sea, and discharge themselves there, and some say into the desert. Now you got to remember, this is long before the cataclysm, the deluge, the mudslides. Earth is one. Just because you have sea floors at sea level that you cannot see, all of us are connected. It is one big earth. Now, go outside of that, and you go on to drop-offs that they don't want to say nothing about, that I've heard enough submariners say there are places in the South. When I went around the Horn a few times, or kill Germany, they say there are places that they are not allowed to go over because if something was to happen, there was no way to retrieve them, and they don't know how far down it goes. Bubbleheads that I used to converse with, drinking wine in France, in Gay Paris, or Toulon of Cons, Anyway, and that's factual conversations I had. And the remaining 4 come forth on the side of the north to their own sea. Now here we are back into why I'm reading Flatlanders. Do you recall me stating these? And the remaining 4. That's what we were discussing in the first place. Isn't it funny how they mess words up when they're writing paragraphs or trains? And the remaining 4 come forth on the side of the north, as if the north has a side. Isn't it the center point? To their own sea. 2 of them to the Erythraean Sea, and 2 into the great sea, and discharge themselves there, and some say into the desert. And it's funny how it says some say, if Uriel or Gadriel is showing him these things, and it's based upon fact of what he's saying, why would it subjugate as a question of the possibilities? This is where the Vatican, all those who've lied, which everybody sees nowadays, have messed up. They continue to usurp, creating these fallacies as if no one is paying attention. I am not getting paid for this. You know what my payment is? That you will look into it. 7 great islands I saw in the sea and in the mainland. 2 in the mainland and 5 in the great sea. Now he's looking into the future. And we say the 7 continents, but some young people are talking about 4 and 5. Shut up. It's all one land. There are 7 continents basically established, which means a continent can be considered even an island. Though we're all connected. And the names of the sun are the following. The first Orgeres, and the second Thomas. And the moon has 4 names. The first name is Asonja, and the second Ebla, and the third Banas, and the fourth Erre. These are the 2 great luminaries. Their circumference is like the circumference of the heaven, and the size of the circumference of both is alike. In the circumference of the sun, there are 7 portions of light, which are added to it more than to the moon. Notice the 7. What is the 7? Remember, what does the 7 illuminate? To being the chakras, right? Now, as the sun, there's a balance to it. Remember, the doors and the windows are the portals. Numbers are very good for those who study gematria. It's not going to hurt you. But there's also codes in here, codex, which keeps the enemy believing that they have us dumbed down. Everything is within you. All the knowledge of the ancestors is within you. And indefinite measures, it is a transferred still. It is transferred, it is transferred till the seventh portion of the sun is exhausted. And they set and enter the portals of the west, and make their revolution by the north, and come forth through the eastern portals on the face of the heaven. And there it goes. It says, it's not going around some spherical ball, people. Even it has a luminary path that is strategic, that has an order to it. And when the moon rises on 14th part appears in the heaven, the light becomes full in her. It's a hymn. Well, I'm not going to correct it. I'm reading it as is, so y'all will know the difference by research. On the 14th day, she accomplishes her light. They want you to believe the moon is weak, transparent, which it is, but not weak. Far from it. Like they have you believing pink is feminine and blue is masculine. It's totally the opposite. Pink is masculine. Anyone who walks by the way of the samurai Bushido code know this, as the blue is feminine, soft. Pink is hard, harsh. Even the rapids of the ocean that turn up in Himalaya or Pakistan, pink salt crystals, in a very devastating manner, mind you, of death, is pink. Blue is like little boy blue sitting on the moon for the homosexual. Nothing against the gay people, all right? I'm just speaking on what I've learned in France and all the worlds I've traveled, okay? It's soft, caressing. Now, if you say royal blue, now we're talking about something totally different. That is an allude to purple, bishopdom, kingdom. All right, so here we go. And 15 parts of light are transferred to her till the 15th day, when, in parentheses, her light is, I'm going to go back to saying, because I don't even feel right. His light is accomplished according to the sign of the year, and he becomes 15 parts. I just can't do that, y'all. I can't lie out my mouth. It's something I know, but the truth too. And he becomes 15 parts, and the moon grows by, in the parentheses, the addition of 14, a 14th part, excuse me. And here we go with the double luminaries of the 7th portion. So the 14th parts. And in his warning, in parentheses, the moon decreases on the first day to 14 parts of his light. And on the second to 13 parts of light, on the third to 12, on the fourth to 11, on the fifth to 10, on the sixth to 9, and who knows that math? Who understands what I was just saying, speaking on? There's an actor who played in, what was that movie that everybody was going crazy about with the music and everything? Terrence Howard, who was talking about certain math, about things canceling out and not meaning nothing at all. Pay attention to the stuff being put out there. And he even admitted to he might get shot for this. If there's anybody in here that's a Mason, and if you have any idea of what I'm expressing, you better be clear and you better come clean. And do yourself service for once instead of in service or injustice. Take it from me. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. And in his warning, the moon decreases. We go 12 to 3, on the 13th to 2, on the 14th to the half of a seventh. Now it's going from top to bottom and back to top. And all his remaining lights disappears wholly on the 15th. Have y'all ever paid attention to the moon's transition, trajectory, as it's moving through the 5 seasons, not 4, during the 13 ecclesial months, through the time of the 364 luminary days and nights? Good stuff to study. And in certain months, the month has 29 days and once 28. And Uriel showed me another law when light is transferred to the moon and on which side it is transferred to him by the sun to fill. During all the period during which the moon is growing in his light, he is transferring it to himself when opposite to the sun. During 14 days, his light, in semicolon, his light is accomplished in the heaven. And when, end of semicolon, and when he is illuminated throughout, illuminated, y'all, ding, a bell sound, hollow, his light is accomplished full in the heaven. And on the first day, he is called the new moon, for on that day, the light rises upon him. And then we'll pick up when he becomes full moon exactly tomorrow. Now I want to finish this so bad because I want to get into the next crypto of understanding of certain visages and communicate with these things. And those two readings I'm going to read anyway later on, but I think they're just superb in their totality. So yesterday we had a gander when we were looking at the Rig Veda, as far as the god Indra from the Rig Veda, the supporter and sustainer of the world, which I think is a very, very beautiful, and that is still about the mountains of Negra. Yes, y'all. Very beautiful. Thus, the vertical axis of the universe is made to correspond to the personal form of the Lord. An analogy is sometimes made between this axis, which is graded series of heavens, and the spinal chakras on which yogis meditate. In this analogy, this is what Buddha Mandala corresponds to the lowest chakra and Satyaloka, and I should know how to say this, I just don't. I'm chopping it up, excuse me, my Hindu brothers and sisters, of original or Ethiopian, corresponds to the 1,000-petal Brahma, Radha at the top of the head. The lower worlds corresponding to the legs of the universal form do not play a role in this analogy, but the serpent and Nantasesa may correspond to the Kundalini at the base of the spine. I need to go and just learn some Hindustan. That's serious. I have not learned y'all. I need to learn some of y'all's language, man, so I can pronounce these things right. In his essay on Indian cartography, Joseph Schwartzberg described one way in which the analogy between the spine and the cosmic axis is used in processes of meditation, which is beautiful, y'all. Y'all gotta, wait till I tell you about the book on this. It's the cosmology of the Bible. I already ordered the book. Because y'all not donating a few dollars here and there to help me buy it, so I just bought it. Because y'all acting very selfish. By contemplating this analogy, meditators further the process by which one's self becomes a microcosm that refuses and becomes one with the enveloping macrocosm. You remember what micro and macrocosm means. All right. One spine then, which is large. One spine then becomes the Meru of axis mundi on both. Arrayed along the spine are various centers of psychic energy that one summons up in the practice of yoga. And it's just like there's a certain Tai Chi that says the same thing by massaging all the inner organs especially when you go to cloud hands and you slowly move and then you change up your position. It allows you, once you learn how to do it and move, and you start moving with effortlessly, you feel the energy transition, and you feel the energy delivery from the ball foot. You feel it as you're moving all the way up through your body as you're breathing, because you actually learn how to breathe and where to breathe in and out and force all the air out at certain positions. And it's like if all your hair stood up on your entire body. It's almost like electrical when I'm doing it. And that's why I've got to get back to doing it. I used to be teaching Mormons Tai Chi every morning. If anybody remember me on Facebook, I used to put all the pictures up and I saw one the other day. Says, well, I'm back. Can I come by and do Tai Chi? I was like, heck yeah, I need somebody to do it. But in the cold, especially, reminds me of being in Plaza One, in New York. with all my little Chinese brothers and sisters out there, and they was just, oh, your form, put your wrist here, breathe this way, move this way. I'm like, I'm with you, I'm with you. So it's a beautiful thing. Okay, all right. Excuse me, got carried away. It's just who I am. In moving toward the supremely illuminated samadhi state, these energy centers may be viewed as the check this out, psychophysiological analogs of the heavens that the soul traverses on its path to ultimate liberation. Richard L. Thompson, The Cosmology of the Bhagavata Purana. I gotta show y'all what that is. Y'all know I do this. This is what I do. So be patient with me. You know what I mean? Most two powerful weapons you have, and I gotta use this right now because I know some of you are like this, is patience and time. I'll show you what the book looks like. I'm not gonna purchase this because I just spent $50 that Rip Lloyd and our brother sent me and purchasing Arthur Koestler, 13th Tribe, and the other book that Rip Lloyd wanted me to get so bad. So, and I did. I ordered it. So let's go ahead and pull this up because I really might get this, but not right now. I'm not going to be spending my money on with everything that's going on. That's why. That's the reason why I asked for you guys' assistance. Otherwise, I would just buy it all myself. And I bought 9 books. I'm keeping 2, one for my nephew and one for me, and the other ones I'm gonna give out after Christmas. Okay, so the Purana, that is a PDF too. If you don't want to, I'm gonna buy the book. I'm just what I do. Okay, you don't have to. You can actually go read the PDF. Okay, I want you to see what it looks like. Yes, that's it. Save it. Thank you. Sheesh. Okay. Why does it do that? Okay, there we go. All right. One finger. I'm holding book and blah. So let's go ahead and pull up an image of what the book look like. And it is actually, to me, I find both of them beautiful. Me personally, the one that I'm going to get, because I believe in the balance of certain things, is this one right here, and I'll show you. This is the one that, oh, come on. Why are you going over there? I'm not saying I'm going to buy it right yet. Why do they do that? Just let me, can I look at the picture? Oh, you know what? Thrift Books, you should know better than that. Don't do that, man. Thrift Books, don't be doing this, because I will write you. You know I will. I'll write you and be like, what's going on with you? I don't think you all right? You get more than your feelings hurt. Thrift Books is doing something retarded right here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. And I get stuff from Thrift Books, and is that beautiful? Is that beautiful? Is that I'm gonna get that one, y'all, and that's $30.48. So now the other one, I think is beautiful as well. Honestly, I mean, it's between these two. This one is $33, but I'm going for $30. Okay. And do you see the contemporary text, the scripts in there? Is that fabulous? It's phenomenal. So even for $33, I don't know. I think I got like $5.35 left on in Cashapp. So when I get to $33, I might get this one or the $30 one, whichever one, and we'll see. So, and I will definitely order it live, so that way you guys see. I showed you the ones I ordered. Sorry, I was in a rush. I was like, let me go order these things. I'm like a big kid when it comes to books. All right, so, and I really like to have the books. There's like over 22 different books mentioned in here. It's phenomenal. I believe that they're all listed in the back. It's phenomenal. Just, was it in the front? Was it the back? Who remembers? I think it was in the front, right? Well, anyway, we can go through all that because it was in here listed, and they had all the books laid out, all the different tribes and all the different places and all the, as far as it might be in the middle. Remember, y'all was going through all the different books and I gave all like a whole bunch of them and I was reading them. I think it was at the bottom of the page, if I remember right. I've been reading so much, y'all. This happens. It's like a dystopia in ideologies or narratives when you read a lot and you just, okay, where was it at? And sometimes you got to go fish. Like the card game. All right. In the microcosm, the Atlantean pillar is your spine. Whereas the macrocosm, it is the axis mundi, the invisible vertical line from the North Pole to Polaris. Straight up. Okay, remember that. In the microcosm, the 7 Hesperides are your chakras dancing around your spine all day. The serpent, which is your blood flow, up and down, the 2, okay? That powerful electric. And I'm gonna make a statement when I get done reading this. You're gonna be like, you only get it different. Dancing around your spine all day. Whereas in the macrocosm, they are the 7 stars of the Great Bear, the closest constellation to Polaris, encircling it every night. In the microcosm, the micro, smaller, all right? The serpent is the Kundalini, whereas in the macrocosm, it is, that's a beautiful, oh, dude, I gotta let y'all see this. Dude. Yes, you got my wheatgrass and my little ball caps, but yeah, is that phenomenal? Anyway, the serpent constellation, which its head separated from its tail, thanks to Garuda, Garid, and the other celestial birdmen heroes. Did I jump something? Yeah, in the macrocosm, that's correct. All right, in the birdmen heroes, and we can also attest that to so-called the Anunnaki. All right, so in all these cosmological conceptions, the axis mundi is personified as a god, or poetically described as a majestic pillar, a world tree, or gigantic mountain range supporting the heaven and establishing the pivot on which they revolve. You are the center, just like the great magnetic black rock. The 4 waters flow from you. It is not just a metaphor. We are connected to the earth, the 8 hertz, which can destroy or debilitate or allow. We have allowed, and I'm telling you, you should no longer allow. What's the opposite without getting us in trouble here? As a majestic pillar, a world tree or gigantic mountain range supporting the heavens, and our afros are what? And everything about us, our toes, 10 toes down, our feet, fingers, on the world scope of the what? We are the what? Life givers, life bearers, and life takers. I'm going to be careful with that. Range supporting the heavens and establishing the pivot on which they revolve. In ancient Sanskrit yogic texts, the spine is actually called Marudanda, which shows the purposefulness of this analogy. A literal mountain tree, pillar, or abode of gods, plural, not singular, may or may not actually exist at the center of the earth. But the spiritual allegory was somehow ubiquitous in bygone times. So you think they didn't know something? For it is us, y'all. Even amongst supposedly, and I don't mean gods, I hate that word, uncontacted civilizations. Likewise, whether or not a literal worldwide flood ever once occurred, destroying Flatlanders, a metaphorical flood of amnesia has all but eliminated humanity's knowledge of these once universally known subjects like Kundalini and flat Earth. And that's recent, people. Even the World's Fair had Atlas holding up the universe, not a globe. Awakening Kundalini and the chakras we will get into tomorrow, along with the other part of Enoch, and we'll get into the Carpenter and martial arts to better have an understanding of what I'm saying, to circumvent a better understanding of why we don't just think with our head, but our gut and our heart is a factor to push forward, why the upper thoracic must be destroyed, because the serpents, as far as, remember I was showing y'all how to clean your glands, the 20 and 15, and how to push it down to your, and then go from there to remove the toxin, which goes into this upper part here. If it's destroyed, those toxins can be very deadly. All right. So, and also slapping 50 times, 20. These are practices that are known to benefit, as far as Qigong and all that. I know, I gotta read these together. I'm gonna read these later. Yeah. in 2 hours. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going back out. So in 2 hours, we're going to read these two. And I got to make up for yesterday because I was going to read for quite a bit. And I know y'all are pretty enthused with these two. Heaven Bearers and exposing the expedition of expositions of 1851 and 1915. And I think that y'all, that's Chicago. Remember, that's Chicago there. All right. So, and this is after the mudslide and the orphans, which I've alluded to help people in finding out about the orphan trains and the orphan ships. We're going to read that in 2 hours. That's a lot of good stuff. And I do have to go to TikTok and read these, because these and this go hand in hand. All right. So I appreciate everybody coming in. Much love and respect. That's what it's all about. Now, what I was going to say about after reading that, my opinion, not saying it's a fact, the God that religion has everybody worshiping is an enemy. The serpent that they make everybody fearful of is the enlightener. I know it's hard to conceive and conceptualize, but we're in a world of knowledge and always have been. And until you realize that everything is backwards, reversed, upside down, and inverted, and the lies are because they want to control the narrative and perversion, we must make right what has been perverse. There is no Pizarro world, and yet we are living Pizarro world. I hope y'all can take something from this. I appreciate you taking the time and the patience, having the patience to follow along and listen to me read. For those who couldn't stay here, maybe they're doing something very important on a Sunday, and maybe more will be able to see this. And will further be reading so much more. I have books all around me. Literally, I look like a book hoarder. I am not. You know what I'm saying? But I read so much. And doing so, because that's my place, it allows me to remember and to subject myself to all the things I've seen in my travels, the art, everything that I've been fluid in. And wow, sometimes things have been dictated and laid out for you. And then you won't come into the knowledge of knowing that until you actually start participating in that mirror instead of staying outside the window. Come in from the rain, people, and find out what it is in the mirror that you're supposed to do, and do it now, because every one of us play a part, and we're not all teachers, but in some form or another we are. Okay? You must know what your knack is, what it means for you to teach. And this, I am still learning. I'm still a student. I just know that I have a knack for it, and a love for it. All right? Shout out to everybody that came in. Rhonda, what's going on? None your business. I hope you catch it too. APJR, what's cracking? Mama Red. Equator 7, peace. What's going on? Beloved Carver, what's happening, bro? Elevations all day. I can see we are all different with style, strength. Yes. Nupria Ampiotto, what's going on? You just said, I come from bloodlines that were talented in many areas, which is why I'm all over the place researching. I'm not one to be put in a box. Thank you. And many others take that in and pay attention. No, none of us are. It's beautiful. Yep. Who you are. Yes. Well, you are what you are if you walk into your truth of who you are. And I'm not here to tell you or nobody else. But if you believe what you have been allowed to become without actually accessing the truth of who you are, and I must say that for everybody. No, we're not who we are. No, we must acquiesce to our truth and become who we're supposed to be. But I dig where you're coming from. I can empathize with you. That I can. I was on my way to paint my car midnight blue before it got told. Oh, that sucks. I hope you've got another one. You had insurance or something. Which just was to brighten up my day even more. No, I appreciate you. No need to thank me. I appreciate you. About the difference between the right and left hidden hand. Yeah. They used to have that saying, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. I say, do not ever practice that. Do not even formulate an ideology, because you conspire against yourself. Teach your left hand what your right hand knows, is what I will say. Let your left eye see what your right eye is seeing or looking at. Allow yourself to not just breathe, but experience your breathing. When you walk, do you walk with one leg and one foot? Well, I tell you to let them be in harmony as one, but to walk knowing that they are different. I hope that has helped not just you, but anybody else. I mean, we only have one asshole, right? No, your breath can smell is just as bad. So remember these things, people. Excuse me. And I appreciate and I love you all. Original Lone Wolf, what's going on? Much love, family. We have a long way to go, people. In a short time. I don't want you to be stuck on short time. Patience and time are the two most important, powerful weapons that we have. And you mitigate how soon, you choose how soon, or if you want to wait until the last minute. I'm gonna suggest this. You make the best choice that you believe to be the wisest, but don't do it looking outside the window. If you don't know what I mean by looking outside the window, go back to previous videos. I've discussed it over and over, and there are those here who can break it down as well. You will never find nothing outside the window if you're looking with the wrong eyes, not with yours. If you're looking with the world constructed around you's eyes, you will never see the green, the beauty, the glimmer. You will only see the world of false lights and be perpetuous to it. But if you look in the mirror, you construct who you are. I adore those who have defects, brokenness, and they can look in the mirror and enjoy their obesity, their scars, from fires to acid burns, for they are not unloved. I appreciate all, and those who find themselves to be perfect, may you do it with your eyes wide open and not just closed. Because to see beauty in your eyes closed is beautiful, it is, and it's majestic. But to look at it open, like I said, and to see the beauty in yourself, it's beyond magnification. Anyway, I'll see y'all in a couple of hours. And this is the path that I've chosen. This is the path that I'm on. And I hope that you and many more will join me on this ride, and I will always be there to join y'all on yours. There's no such thing as a weakness, only an underdeveloped skill. Well, sadly, hun, we've all come into a world that made us weak, yet we are perfectly endowed with strengths beyond even that word. So I can sympathize with that. And your interpretation is actually from your moms? Is that from your moms? Your aunt. Aunts, they're all moms. But still, an excellent and wonderful quote. Some might not see that way. I can see that. Anyway, again, see you guys in 2 hours, all right? You have a grand day.